The EVE, it's back online. You want it? I know that, but I'll have you all know that I currently have a man on the job. He's perfect. We'll get your computer back. Yes, my lords.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the final video of Metroid Month. Now, today we're going to be talking about Metroid Other M. Now, just to preface, there's going to be no elaborate plot twists, or over-the-top action segments, or anything like that. No, it's just going to be a simple, straightforward video game review. Split into 3 parts.
Alright, Judge, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sneak aboard S13, you're gonna find my brother, and then you're gonna kill him.
How am I going to do that?
I've been keeping an eye on his YouTube channel, and he promised that at the end of this month, he'd review Metroid Other M.
Oh yeah, that's right, it's Metroid Month. Ah, Metroid Month!
Can it? He's going to play Metroid Other M, and it's going to be so bad that it'll kill him. All I need you to do is bring the body to me.
Will that work?
Excuse me?
Has that ever worked? We've been trying to take him out for 2 years now, and that usually results in death and explosions. So, without further ado and any fanfare, let's start the game.
Chip, are you sure this is a good idea? I mean, you remember what happened last time you played a game this bad?
I hear what you're saying, Eve, and I'm taking it to heart. However, I really don't think that's going to be a problem anymore. You see, every time I've played a shitty game and almost died, it's built up my tolerance. I come out in one piece every time.
Yeah, because I always end up having to resuscitate you.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were the one in charge here, because I was under the impression that I was the one who gave the orders, and you were the one that followed them. But I guess if you'd rather we switch roles here, I think I can probably make it happen, with all 0 of my limbs!
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. In fact, what you're saying is entirely valid. I'm just not worried about it, so pop it in the system.
Don't look to me when I have to revive your ass again.
Look, I know you're angry. I can see that. Sort of. I'm on board. I just don't know if this is the best way to go about it. The figures don't lie. He survives every time.
But this time he won't, because you'll be there to shut down the EVE that normally resuscitates him.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Wait, doesn't it have defense mechanisms?
Damn!
Oh, don't do that. Don't be like that, Eve. I have an obligation, a moral stance. I need to review this game so that they'll make a new Metroid game.
They wouldn't make a new Metroid game if the fate of the planet depended on it.
Shut it! I guess before we begin, a little background's in order. It's been almost 5 years since this game came out in September of 2010. I remember because it was announced on my birthday. I came home from school, checked the Metroid database for updates, and lo and behold, Metroid Other M!
What's that? It sounds like another fan game, but nope, it was a full-fledged Metroid game with bitchin' pre-rendered cutscenes, fast-paced combat, and the promise of revealing more about our favorite heroine's backstory.
I was pumped. Yeah, no joke. I paced around the house for an hour and a half just because I couldn't contain my excitement about a new Metroid game. We'd just come off of Metroid Prime 3 a mere 2 years earlier. The Metroid fever was high, and it was a fucking awesome game, so everyone was wondering what sort of direction they'd take the series in next.
So they decided to make it Ninja Gaiden in space. Here's Metroid Other M.
So in order to do this review justice, I need to nitpick every single thing they did wrong to the point of excess so that they'll know exactly what it was they did wrong so that they can improve it in the next Metroid game. If that happens before the next fucking Ice Age, this review is going to be really long. So if you have a short attention span, you're dumb.
Right off the bat, we're given the insight that this is going to be a Metroid game that takes itself very seriously. I mean, just listen to that music. Ominous, scary. What kind of game is this going to be?
A bad one. Spoiler alert.
Chip, quit spoiling the review.
Next, the intro cinematic. There is none. Just bright piano playing some random melody. I'm so excited for this game, you guys. Metroid 86, the title pops up against a stark space backdrop, and the dark melody of the music transitions into a nice, pretty melodic passage. This tells us everything we need to know about what kind of game it's going to be without saying anything. The contrast of the bright colors against the space background shows us that this is going to have a dark atmosphere, but still be colorful and fun, so there's nothing to be afraid of. The music does the same thing too, with its seamless transition into the happy, melodic passage. Metroid 2, the same thematic elements, only in black and white, but I used a different color palette. Again, the music provides a dark, foreboding element, but transitions into another, more melodic phrase. This would become a staple in Metroid games throughout the years.
But in order to illustrate my point, I'm going to analyze the rest of the title screens except Hunters. That game sucks.
Super Metroid, arguably the most renowned game in the entire Metroid series. The red captions against the black background type across as the camera pans to reveal the full title screen on a huge swell that says Super Metroid, like in your face, bitches!
You see, now this title screen does a great job of establishing the dark atmosphere. Gets you excited to play the game. It's a huge build-up to that first title drop. It's like, this is what all title screens should strive to be. They should be something to pull the player in and make them excited about playing the game.
Metroid Prime, same type of thing, only it's the inside of a Metroid. Interesting backdrop with familiar music, but the familiar music has a different take on it. This establishes that this game is going to be familiar to Metroid fans, but different because of the new graphics and playstyle. Metroid Prime 2, different motif, a little bit darker than the first one, but ultimately the music and pacing of the sequence get you pumped about playing this new and exciting Metroid adventure. Metroid Prime 3, not as good, but offers a kind of sad but still pleasant musical sequence. We can also see that this game is going to have a focus on Phazon. Alright, I take it back, I'll talk about Hunters. In Hunters, every bounty hunter has their own vignette that gives us some insight into who they are as characters, their backstory, or anything else the game wants to tell us. Then they do nothing to build on this later in the game. Metroid Zero Mission. This one assaults us with blaring music, intense but short bouts of sequences, and then a nice homage to the original Metroid's title screen. This draws us in because it's just like, boom, in your face, bitch!
It establishes the plot and creates a sense of urgency. Like, you gotta start this game, because if you don't, everyone's fucked, so you better fucking push that start button before I kick your scrawny little ass! It also helps to set up that this game is going to be a more modern, different, contemporary take on the original Metroid. It will have all the same conventions and levels and areas that we know and love, but more. So how could you go wrong with that? Great title screen.
Metroid Fusion. The opening cinematic shows Samus in her ship, and the ship drifts into an asteroid field and blows up. Then the title pops up in a very bleak, empty fashion. This title screen works because it draws the player into the mystery. 1, how and why did her ship crash? And 2, what's going to happen after that? All of these title screens work because the sequels show that the game is going to be the same, but different. It'll play the same and follow much of the same conceptual framework, but still be different and unique.
So now it's time to move on to Metroid Other M. So judging it by the same conventions that we used to judge the previous title screen, some good, some just okay, how does this one stack up?
Well, there's space and asteroids and piano music playing a new musical sequence that we never heard before. Does this draw our attention in? Does this make us excited to play this new Metroid game? No. We wonder why it's so soft. It shows us that this is going to be a game that is emotional and focused on characters. Now, neither of these things are inherently bad. It's the execution that makes it so offensive. We'll talk about that as it comes.
Whatever. This game can't be that bad, right? I mean, there are worse. You know, I've seen worse. Star Wars The Old Republic is the worst game ever made, and I managed to survive that, so if I can survive that, I can survive anything. Okay, let's start the game. Ooh! This is gonna be one of those games, huh?
Mother, time to go.
Beg your pardon?
Time to go.
Mother, time to go. What is that? Is that a pun? Is it a one-liner? That's the worst one-liner I've ever heard in my life, and she might as well have just said,
"Cheese to meet you," or "Creatures who live in glass bottles shouldn't play with lasers," or "Mecha hi, mecha hiney ho," or fucking anything.
How far am I through this game? A minute? Yeah, no, it's a good game. It's good. The cutscenes look nice. Okay, no, Eve! We're gonna get through this! Eve, you got it! Eve! Gonna get through this, okay?
I'm quite comfortable.
Eve! Now, don't let me talk about the music yet, Eve. Don't do it!
Don't talk about the music yet.
Danny Elfman! Sounds like John Cage's leftover vomit residue.
Don't talk about the music yet.
So Lottie frickin' da! Samus blows up Mother Brain, everyone's happy, and she wakes up in the Federation lab.
I awoke to the familiar
I know, I just said that!
Maybe now would be a good time to talk about the voice acting.
But Chip, you haven't even started playing yet.
Eve, If I want to stand out among the countless other YouTubers bad-mouthing Other M, then I need to be as thorough as possible. And the only way to do that is to address every little thing that's wrong with this game. Which is a lot. See, most people who talk about why this game is bad say that it's because of the voice acting. But that's not true. It's because of the voice acting and everything else.
The thing that Metroid does well is what we in the business like to call environmental storytelling. You see, environmental storytelling is where the atmosphere and, well, environment help you, the player, the active participant, figure out what's going on. It's not spoon-fed to you through long-winded speeches or extensive cutscenes. Again, neither of these things are inherently bad, but when executed poorly can be problematic. Samus says stuff that everybody already knows. Yeah, Samus, we can see that there's a dead body there. Oh, we would have never figured that one out.
The voice actress, Jessica Martin, is actually a Seattle resident. And while I couldn't get an exclusive interview with her, because I didn't really try, I do know that she was given at least some direction, either by NOA personnel or by a translator. I can excuse bad acting. As far as I'm concerned, bad acting is due in part by bad direction. She's a professional voice actress. I don't blame her. I blame bad direction in tandem with bad writing.
Take the Star Wars prequels. Good actors, bad direction, bad writing, bad acting, shitty movies. Therefore, X plus bad direction plus bad writing equals shit. In conclusion, any and all blame should be directed towards Team Ninja, Yoshio Sakamoto, and or any of their affiliates.
So the issue isn't that the voice acting is bad, it's that the writing is bad. I'm not sure which is more offensive, but I'm sure if you give me a couple of minutes, I can probably come up with a decision.
To be fair, her inner monologue during this opening segment is alright. She seems to drone on about these significant points in her life. We can see that the fight has taken its toll on her, and she's changed because of it. I think it helps if you don't think of this Samus as the Samus. Think of her as a jaded, tired Samus. This is her after too many missions with too little breaks. You'd probably go a little crazy too if you didn't get a break every once in a while. It's a lonely life. There's a short little tutorial here where this scientist shows us how to use some of her latent abilities and sends us on our way.
The big dogs are waiting. I gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
Oh yeah, and remember that line. It's important.
After reporting that she went to SR-388 and fucking killed everything and then went to Zebes and fucking blew up the planet, Samus heads back to her ship for presumably a little R&R. After a few months, she stumbles upon a distress signal, which, judging by how well that turned out last time, I would have just left it for the next person.
Oh yeah, we're playing a Metroid game. I forgot.